What's going on, guys? So, I was in the process of writing a blog for the website, and the title of the blog that I was trying to write was How Much Do You Really Care? And I ran into a bunch of problems. I couldn't articulate exactly what I was wanting to say. I ended up wasting a bunch of time just kind of spinning my wheels, trying to figure out exactly how I was going to get this message to you. Also, I found that I was incredibly passionate about the conversation, and I think that there were some things that I just wanted to talk about so that you could see me and hear the passion in my voice, that you understood that there was really a process that kind of occurred. And I want to spend just a minute kind of like articulating this conversation, right? Because I think that a lot of people say things, or they say, I care about this or I care about that. And at the end of the day, you may not actually care. And this comes back to this like self-reflection situation where I tell people, you got to reflect and you got to look at yourself and you got to challenge yourself regularly, right? You got to challenge those assumptions and say, you know what? Is this real? Is it not? And to let you know what I'm talking about here, I've been really kind of examining my life and like looking at things that are in my life that are keeping me from getting where I want to be. And I had mentioned, in a previous video that, sometimes I think that maybe I'm a little lazy or that I'm not as dedicated to things. And then I try to discover like the why. So I've said, you know what, I'm not as motivated as I need to be, or I have a tendency to be lazy. Sometimes I like to come home and sit on the couch when there's things that I should be doing. And so I look underneath of those things and I say, okay, well, what's the why? What's the why I do that? And see if I can find the driver, the source, or the main motivator that's creating this problem. And I started to look into it, and what I discovered is some really hard to swallow pills, man. And I'm going to bring up some examples and talk to you about a couple of different things. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, but I really encourage you to kind of stick with me through this process, because hopefully you're going to come to some of the same realizations and discoveries that I did if you are willing to look at yourself with the same type of critical lens. The first thing that I want to talk to you about that I discovered was my weight. I have been overweight as long as I can remember, and I'm not grossly overweight. I don't think that I'm obese by any means, but I'm definitely not thin or what I would consider physically attractive, light enough to want to take my shirt off at the swim park. I definitely have the proverbial dad bod. And I've had it forever. I started developing a dad bod my senior year of high school. I was overweight in the military. And so I'm going to be really honest and real with you guys for a minute. This has been a source of serious depression in my life. Like, I think that it was my time in the military. When I was in the Army, I was flagged for being overweight. And when you're in the Army, I mean, let's face it, they're not nice about anything, They call you a fat body, and they call you a worthless waste of space, and they call you this, and they call you that. Like, I'd always been physically fit, super in shape. I never failed PT test. I was just fat. And because of that, I don't know if maybe I let things get to me, or whatever, but I developed a serious complex about being overweight. And this has followed with me my whole life. It's still with me. I have yet to conquer this in my life. And I was examining this, and I came to this moment of realization that, the reason why I'm overweight, and as much as I've let this impact my life, it's because I don't care enough. And that sounds crazy. It even sounds crazy to me when I say it. I could say, how can something that I've lost so much sleep over, how can something that has impacted my self-esteem and my emotional state of mind and caused so much severe depression, something that is just day-to-day damaging my life, and something that I so sincerely care about, and then you got to come to the realization, no, you don't care. You don't care. If you cared, you would fix it. If you cared, you would say no. And, I'm kind of even getting teary-eyed even just thinking about it, because it pisses me off so much that that's right. I don't care enough. I didn't care enough not to eat that meal that I shouldn't have, not to have that cookie or that cake. I've joked with people before and I said, cookies are my kryptonite. I just can't say no. I could say no if I cared enough to say no. And we could say, well, it's a lack of self-discipline. We could say that it's a laziness issue. We could say that it's a lot of things. And guys, it may very well be all of those things. But the root cause is that I don't care enough to change it. And in a sake of documenting for you guys right now, I'm going to make a statement to you for accountability that I do care, because I truthfully believe that this root cause right here is something that is really keeping me from being successful in the way that I want to be successful in life. Happiness is a big part of my success. Contentment is a big part of my success. And this is keeping me from achieving those goals because I'm allowing this lack of caring to erode my sense and well-being. And I have made a vow to myself that I am going to conquer this. There's 2 areas of my life that I have not been able to truly conquer, and weight is one of them. And I am going to make sure that I conquer this finally and once and for all from this moment forward, that I'm going to get this under control, because I have to prove to myself that I can do it, because I have to get rid of this problem in my life in order to move forward. Some things, some habits, some issues can anchor us down, and they can keep us from having real progress. And for me, this is one of those things. And so I've discovered this week. Maybe this will help you, maybe it won't. But I think that, if you're beating yourself up at home because I don't have the discipline. You don't have the discipline because you're not caring enough to have the discipline. You do. If your children's lives were at stake, you would find the discipline. The fact of the matter is that you just don't care as much about fixing the problem as you do about trying to find the discipline to do what it is that needs to be done. And our comfort and some things really get in the way. The second thing that I want to talk to you about, I know that some of you, all 12 of you or whoever it is out there that follow me anymore, have probably seen a lot of rebranding and things going on my website. And I know that some people have really asked, why is there so much stuff going on? And it just seems like I'm going in a completely new direction and things. And truthfully, I am 100%. I'm rebranding Winning at Life. I've changed the name to Second Place Solutions. I've done a few other things. And the reason for this is the same conversation that I had to have with myself. Is like, do I really care? Give you a little background and story of what I mean by that is, when I started Winning at Life, about 2 years prior to that, I was doing guest speaking at the college for my old professor, Lindy Lachance. And I would go in and I would talk to his students, and I had several opportunities to be able to do this. And it was always a really great experience because I was able to kind of share with them a little bit of my life lessons, my experience, in a way to kind of help them. I shared a lot of my military experience and lessons I learned from Iraq and challenges that I faced in the business world. And I was able to just really impart upon them knowledge in a way to kind of help them get better. And I never got paid for it. I did it for free. And I never felt better. I will tell you that this is what drove the passion for it. There's hardly a better feeling in the world for me than the day that I leave class, or a day that I leave a speech where I feel like I have reached somebody, or I've touched someone, or I've imparted something onto someone that they're going to take with them through their life. It's a high unlike really anything else in my life. And it just makes me so incredibly passionate for it. And so that's why I decided to start Winning at Life, right? I just started to sit down and do Winning at Life, and that was going to be the thing. And very quickly, when I started winning in life, I started it with this mission of it was all about others. And really quickly, it became all about me. It became about my financial goals. I had visions in the back of my head of standing on stage and doing these speeches and earning all this money, and all these things are going to happen. It was just going to blow up because I was finally following my passion. And everybody said that the only way to be successful in life is to follow your passion and do your things that you love the most. And I felt like I had found it. This was it. And I was going to dedicate 100% to it. And then it didn't go anywhere. And it didn't get traction. And you guys weren't watching my videos, probably still aren't. And you guys were doing all this other stuff, and maybe the videos are crap. I mean, who knows, right? It doesn't really matter. But the point is, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't become successful. It didn't get any traction. I wasn't getting keynoting, and things weren't going my way. And I lost the drive. And I had spent quite a bit of time reflecting on this and asking myself, why? Why did I so quickly lose this drive for something that I was so absolutely passionate about? And here's the kicker, guys. Still telling myself that I'm passionate about it. Still truly lying to myself and believing the story that I'm passionate about helping others. And I wasn't. I was passionate about helping me. I was passionate about, like, how do I make money? How do I do this? How do I get this recognition? And I made the decision, and again, for accountability purposes, that's what the rebrand came from, is because I realized that I don't care enough to help others. And that's why it wasn't succeeding. See, I was caring about me and not about others. And so I decided, you know what? If I really, truly am passionate about this, I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to offer it for free. Do I think that there's some grand way of possibly becoming rich and famous and making a bunch of money doing something for free? I don't know. I don't know. The truth is, I don't care. Because really what I want more than anything in the world is when I look back on my life and people say, well, you know, do you have regrets? And I talk about regrets. Of course I got regrets. The biggest regrets in my life is the fact that I did everything that everyone told me to do to be successful, to have a good life, to achieve things. And I was never able to answer the question in my life, like, what do I want out of my life? And it's not that I have a bad life. Guys, I tell people this all the time. In fact, I had a very good friend and coworker of mine point this out to me the other day. She goes, well, I don't understand what you're always so happy about. You have such an amazing life. Most people would just give anything to be you. And she's 100% right, and I understand that. But the problem is that it's not the life that I want. You see, I feel like I'm living someone else's life and doing things that I really don't want to be doing. And the problem for me is I had made it so far down this road that by the time I really discovered what it is that I want to do with my life, it was almost too late to turn around. You know, I'm not going to throw away 8 years of education and start all over and get a whole new level of debt to pursue a different type of career path. But I came to the realization one day, a long time ago, when I was looking at winning life. I was actually walking around my old high school track, and the thought hit me: those that can't do, teach. And it seemed really fitting at that point that I felt like I found my calling in life to be a teacher. Not to be a superstar, not to be successful, not to be rich, not to be famous, but to be a teacher where I could teach others the valuable lessons that I've learned from my mistakes. And that's the passion behind it all. And I so badly want to be able to reach young people, college kids, maybe anybody else at any other point in their life if it's applicable, and show them how to not make the mistakes that I have made, how to learn some of the lessons that I have learned, and find a way to maximize their opportunities and do something different with their life. Do the thing with their life that they actually want to do. And the kind of, to turn off the static. right? And I think that's the thing. I think we have so much static in our life, and we have so much competing conversations about what that is. You should go to college. You should get this job. You should do that. You should become a laborer. You should be a business person. Your mom and dad want you to do this. Your school wants you to do that. And it's static. And none of it helps you figure out like what you want. And that what you want is like been here the whole time. You just can't hear it because it's getting blocked out by everyone else. That's my mission. My mission is to help you find that little bitty quiet part of yourself that you truly desire. And when I realized that I have such a passion for this and that I had lost my way, I decided, you know what? Do it for free. I'm just going to do whatever it takes to be heard. And if I have to give away my services for free, if I have to spend my own money, if I have to do whatever it takes to help someone else, then I'm going to do that. And that's became my goal. And the reason why I wasn't doing it before is because I discovered I didn't care enough. And maybe it just takes a little bit of that understanding that there is a way to become selfless. There is a time to have your own goals and your own dreams. I don't know exactly how I'm going to achieve mine. I really don't. I mean, my goals right now are very convoluted and they're complicated. I want to be the world's greatest family man and dad, and I also want to be financially independent and free. Somewhere in between those two concepts comes into what I really want. And what I really want is to feel like I've lived up to the accomplishments that I've achieved in my life. I want my life to be a representation of the hard work that I put into it. Going back to the physical fitness and weight, I think that's one of the things that bothered me all this time. You know, a lot of people don't realize this for me, but I've been a tremendous athlete for many, many years. In fact, I own my own Muay Thai school. I was involved in MMA very heavily for a number of years. One of the issues that I had with competition is the fact that I was so much heavier than people that were my size because no matter how hard I worked out, I couldn't get my diet under control and I just couldn't lose weight. And so I've been very, very fit and working out 6-7 days a week and doing tremendous things for a very, very long time. And probably the biggest thing that hurt me during that time frame was that my body wasn't a representation of the work that I was putting into it. When somebody seen me, they thought I was a dad bod who just sit on the couch and drink beer and watch TV all night long. And they didn't realize that I just left the gym after 3 hours. And I feel the same way about my life. I feel like my life is not a representation of the things that I have done to get to this point in my life. And I know that the two barriers that are there are discipline and a little bit of laziness and selfishness. And I've discovered that when I started looking at my why and paying attention to the things that I truly care about. I've realized in short, and I posted a few things like this to the classroom, that I was listening to people waiting for my opportunity to talk. You know, I've developed a lot of strategic friendships in my life that are beneficial for me. That I don't like to have conversations with people when they're talking about something that I don't want to talk about. Yeah. See, those things are kind of hard to admit on camera. They're really even harder to admit to yourself. But it's true. It's absolutely true. And I think if you would look at yourself a little bit, you would maybe have to admit that that might be true for you too. And I've made a conscious effort to start doing things to show people that they are more important to me, that I can not be so selfish, that I can take time to listen and not have to respond, that I can put my phone away and listen to the conversation that I necessarily don't care about, because somebody else may care about it. And so this kind of wraps up my conversation, is the point that how much do you really care? This is what I was trying to convey in writing a simple blog, and I just couldn't do it. Maybe The conversation is just not that simple. I feel like even shooting this video 20 minutes isn't enough. I could talk to you about this for hours. How do you start to truly care? Sometimes I think, you have to move past yourself to get where you're going. And for me, that's the place where I'm at in life. Like, I feel like I have to move past myself to get to that next point in my life. I feel like I'm on the precipice of something amazing. I feel like I'm ending a chapter in my life and moving on to something great. But I'm struggling to figure out how that's going to occur. I'm struggling to figure out how I'm going to get there. I'm struggling to get past myself to be able to accept what's waiting for me. I don't know if any of this stuff really helped you guys, but you know what? I appreciate your time. It's great to have an outlet to just be able to talk. And for the few of you out there that do listen to my content, I hope that this helped you. If you're new to this channel, just do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe. Make sure that you like this video. Set the notifications so you don't miss future posts. And go visit us on Facebook on the Classroom. We created the Classroom as an idea hub so that anybody and everybody can contribute to the conversation, and so that we can share things like this that may be able to help other people with whatever they're going through in life, whether it be inspiration, motivation, self-help, whether it's depression, addiction, whatever. Join that conversation in the Classroom so that we can all work together to help others. Till next time, guys.